As an online course creator planning to use video to record your course lessons, you're going to need some video equipment. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 categories that you need to consider and make sure that you have those covered, whether it's with something you already have or whether you need to get something in. So let's get started. When it comes to equipment, one of the first categories to look at is the camera. So the first thing I would recommend is looking at your phone. Your phone is probably going to be quite capable of taking good enough image and video for your course, and you might want to start there because it's free and it's obviously less investment when you've got lots of different expenses when you're setting up an online business. So using your phone is perfectly fine and it's something you already know how to use and it's really simple to use. However, if you do want to up your game a bit and get a higher quality looking image, you want to do some more things like having the blurry background look and that kind of thing, then I would recommend a DSLR, and I use the Canon 200D or SL2, and this is one I would recommend for you as well because it's a good budget DSLR camera. It's not too bulky and big or heavy, which means you can use it for other things as well, which is nice, and it's simple to use. It's very intuitive. It has a menu that is very easy to follow in terms of being able to get the settings set up correctly. So the Canon SL2 is a great option for a DSLR camera. If you are going to be doing something which is more computer based and you would rather have a webcam, then I would recommend the Logitech C920. I've got mine hooked up onto a tripod here. So this camera right here is really great for doing anything which is more computer based. So if you are going to be doing more of the slideshow thing with maybe your image as a little thumbnail at the bottom, or maybe you're going to switch between yourself and the slideshow, or you're wanting it for Facebook Lives or webinars or a number of other things which are computer based, then the Logitech C920 is a great camera to go with. The second category we're going to look at is audio, and it's really important to get good audio because this is how you're communicating your content to your student. So you might want to go with something like a lapel mic or a lavalier mic, which is like this, and you basically clip it to your shirt and it's in close proximity to your mouth, so it picks up really good audio. The negative side of it is that it's obviously visible on your shirt. It also has the risk of picking up clothing movement and things like that. Plus, if you are using a wired version, then you are going to be hooked up to the camera and that might limit your movement, unless you use a wireless version, which is also a good option, especially if you're going to be recording outside and you might want more distance, or you're going to be recording quite wide shots and you don't want the cable showing in the shot. So the lapel mic is a great option to go. And again, if you're recording courses and you're going to be teaching something where you're not looking at the camera, then because this is directly underneath your mouth, it doesn't matter if you're looking that way or looking down or whatever, because it's going to be constantly there and it's going to pick up the sound really well. If you want to, you can also use the shotgun microphone, which is, this is an example of one. This one actually happens to work on the phone as well as a DSLR. And it's a Comica CVM V30 Lite. I'll leave all these links to the equipment in the description below so you can check them out. But basically a shotgun microphone sits on top of your camera and or your phone, depending on which one you have, and it's picks up the audio directly in front of it. So it's going to cancel out the audio to the sides and behind it and really focus on the audio in front, which means if you are doing a video like this where it's direct to camera, then it's going to pick up the audio really nicely and you're going to do really great. But if you're going to be teaching something where you're looking down and looking away, or you're having the camera behind you while you're teaching something, it's not going to work out very well because your voice isn't going to be directed towards the towards the microphone. So that's something to bear in mind depending on the type of video lessons that you're going to be teaching. Another option, again, if you're going to be using more of a computer-based recording, is to use a studio microphone. I use the Blue Yeti, which is a very popular one to use. There are others as well, of course. The studio microphone is great because, especially if you get a USB version, you just plug it in with the USB and it just works really nicely with your computer, and you can use that instead of using your onboard computer microphone, which is not going to be as good quality. And the same with your camera microphones, onboard camera mics. They're not as good quality as the ability to plug in an external microphone, which is why I recommend it. So lapel mic, the shotgun mic, or the studio mic, depending on how you're going to teach your lessons, I would pick at least one of those and use that as you teach your lessons. The third category is lighting, and this is super important because actually lighting makes a huge difference to the quality of your image. So you can actually have a not so great camera and great lighting and have a good looking image. You could also have a great camera and bad lighting, and then you'd have a really poor looking image. So lighting is super important. Now if you're not going to use natural light, then I would recommend using some studio lights. So you have the option of soft boxes, which are basically quite large boxes which are diffused with a diffusing panel, and it's actually what I'm using right now. And the nice thing about this is it can be quite flexible in terms of where you place it, and gives a nice catch light in the eye, and it can give you a little bit more contour on your face. So you can see this side of my face is a lot more in shadow than on this side, which is well lit. So it can give you a little bit more flexibility in terms of the things that you can do with it. Another option is the ring light, which is really easy to set up and doesn't take much space, and that basically goes around the camera, so the camera kind of sits in the middle of the light, and that gives an even lighting on your face. So most of the videos that I have actually produced on YouTube so far have been using the ring light, but I'm trying to switch things up a little bit and use the softbox on this occasion. So the ring light is a great way to go, and if you are using your phone, you can use a clip-on like this and just clip that on the top of your phone as well. Another option you could do is use a portable light like this Neewer light, which you can place on top of your camera. So you could put this on top of the DSLR, you can have this on one side, and then you can have the microphone on the other side. You could also hang this on top of place it on top of a stand, so it can be separated from the camera a little bit more. Or you could even hang it up on your, if you have a studio space kind of thing, you could hang it up and clip it somewhere on the wall or to some furniture or something like that. So those are some options for lighting if you're not going to be using natural light. Okay, now I realise that this isn't part of the 3 categories, but I do believe it is important to include, and that is the tripod. Now you could get a full-size tripod, which I would recommend doing, and this is what I'm using right now. I'm using the KNF Concept tripod, and this actually goes quite tall, so if you're a tall person and you're going to be standing up, this is really handy. But it also gives you a lot of flexibility to be able to get all those B-roll and cutaways that you might want to get. However, if you are using your desktop and you are going to be using a webcam, then I would recommend getting a tripod similar to this, where it is a tabletop or desktop tripod, and this is really nice and small, and it's adjustable so it can go higher, obviously not as high as a full size, but the point is when you're using a webcam, if you have the webcam too high because the computer is too high, or whether you're using your laptop and it's looking up at you, those are not very flattering angles and you don't get a good image that way. So I would recommend using a tripod like this to be able to make sure that your camera is eye level, so that you are getting a nice looking image of yourself on camera as well. Okay, so that is all the equipment I'm going to share with you today, but there is obviously a lot more equipment that you could use depending on the type of course that you are creating. So let me know in the comment section below what you are planning to teach and what kind of equipment you think you might need for that. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications on more videos related to creating your courses using video. Stay creative, and we will talk soon.